Welcome to Your Fantastic Mind. I'm Jay Watson. Researchers and clinicians are constantly striving to provide medicines and therapies to treat various mental health conditions. The goal, to help people get better. But not all treatments work for all people. It's not a one-size-fits-all endeavor. That is why attention has returned to something that seemed to hold great promise over half a century ago before they were banned: psychedelics. In tonight's episode, we are taking you inside a new clinical trial where people will take psychedelics in an effort to alleviate their suffering. We were allowed to follow the first patient in the study from day one, including the day of the psychedelic experience and after. This is the story of what happened. For many, the word psychedelic conjures images of the 60s. Time and a counterculture movement that included experimentation of psychedelic drugs.
Turn on, tune in, drop out.
Timothy Leary was one of the most famous advocates of psychedelics.
He was on faculty at Harvard, and he was very interested in these compounds and started studying them, and came to be a big believer in their powers for transformation, and quickly went off the rails by pushing their use far beyond the evidence base that supported their use. And he was fired from Harvard in 1963. It didn't take long. It's a very important lesson for our field that we cannot let the promise and excitement get ahead of the research base.
By the end of the 1960s, LSD was banned. Other psychedelics came along and were also banned. But in the past 20 years, there has been a resurgence of research into psychedelics and how they might benefit people for whom traditional mental health therapies fail. Studies of one such psychedelic, psilocybin, show promising results in treating depression, anxiety, and fear of death with a terminal diagnosis. What makes psychedelics different is that they often create a spiritual experience for the person taking them. Psychedelics are not new. The use of psilocybin, a molecule present in certain types of mushrooms, can be traced back thousands of years to indigenous peoples who use them for medicine and in ceremonies. This exploration and study of psilocybin is bringing together science and spirituality, and the tension between measurable data and spiritual experiences is real. But so is the acknowledgement that it's time to come together to alleviate suffering.
Psychiatry's got to be brave enough to say we are secure enough in what we know and what we do that we can extend into this more nebulous area of spirituality and still retain our integrity as a medical profession dedicated to healing.
Right.
Psychiatrist Bodhi Dunlop and spiritual health clinician George Grant are the founders and co-directors of the Emory Center for Psychedelics and Spirituality.
To be able to sit with people in their suffering is what psychedelic medicine is all about.
Psychiatry this time.
The main goal is to identify the way in which spirituality can improve medical outcomes, psychiatric and physical outcomes. It may be that psychedelics are a way to get there. The evidence to date suggests they are a powerful means, but I don't consider it established.
In its first ever trial, the center is combining psychotherapy, spiritual care, and psilocybin in a rigorous trial that will hopefully end with healing. If it works, it could help others. The number of people in crisis has only grown the past several years.
We do know that there is an epidemic of loneliness. We do know people are more disconnected, more isolated, more living through virtual experiences. The consequences to mental health appear to be quite bad. If we look at the rates of anxiety and depression in our youth, it's a tragedy. We need to find a way to restore a sense of connectedness. Maybe psychedelics will be part of that, maybe not, but that's a direction we need to get heading towards very soon. Hey, Mr. Appleberry? I'm Bodhi Dunlop, I'm a psychiatrist.
The journey to see if psilocybin works begins now.
This is an important study because we need to establish the safety and the efficacy of the application of psychedelics. It may be that this is not going to work. We cannot just assume the answer in science. We need to build an evidence base.